All right, everyone. So we're back after a very, very short break. You may have noticed that we,
Yep,
we
very
haven't
short.
uploaded in quite some time. I guess in this podcast, let's get right into it. We're going to be talking about the Derek Chauvin trial. We're going to be talking about Donald Trump and his ambition to build a new social media platform.
Whatever
We're
that
going to be,
means.
yeah, I don't even know, because he got kicked off literally every social media platform. But
Stay
let's not
pressed.
talk about that.
Stay pressed.
Uh,
Sounds like suppression to me.
Yup.
perhaps.
Censorship.
We're going to be talking about some vaccines,
Yeah.
and we're going to be talking about the new news of the day, which it broke a couple days ago. The what was his name? The Wright, I forgot. Dante Wright. That's that guy. He
Yeah.
basically got shot, and a lot of people are protesting
Basically,
it.
basically, he did get shot.
I mean,
What kind of
little
basically is
gist.
that? If I get stabbed, did I basically get stabbed and entered my freaking body?
Yeah, it's basically just George Floyd Part 2, but like
No, it's not.
Gee.
But we're gonna talk about
okay,
that.
but yeah, we're gonna elaborate on that later.
Yeah.
So,
Let's start off with
Kaika 69. Let's start us off with.
Hunter Biden. My favorite topic. So I don't know if you guys saw, but there's some interesting pictures going around of Hunter Biden. Apparently he has, or this is confirmed, he had a P-Hub page, which if you don't know what P-Hub is, God bless thy soul, honestly. You got some pictures of him smoking crack, him with
Really?
some, yeah, him with, what do you, I
Wait,
think it's
hold
called,
on. What's P-Hub?
uh, uh, uh,
Remember, if you have to say something, we can just censor it out for
Oh,
the
yeah.
funny.
Anyways,
No, you said a bad word.
uh, what? Okay, so he had something known as meth mouth, where you smoke too much meth, so your teeth start to like dissolve into what looks like to be Among Us characters,
Let's
and they're
go.
spaced out. It looks
Let's
very
go.
funny, and I don't know why he took a picture of this. He put it on his laptop. He, I don't know, left his laptop at some dealership in Delaware, and he thought that no one would, open it up, and people did. I guess his password was bad. There's also another picture of him with bare underwear, and you could make out what you think that is to be. He's got
Yikes.
those, yeah, he's got those glasses that his pop wears. Also, he's got a picture of him with two prostitutes in bed with his dog in the bed.
Yikes.
That must be weird.
Yikes.
So, I mean, this is definitely an invasion of privacy, but, I mean, what do you expect, right? Like, if you really don't want people to invade your privacy, don't leave your laptop that you have nudes on, that you have yourself smoking crack on, in a Delaware laptop repair shop. I
And
mean,
math.
and don't pick it up. Yeah, like, this is just basic stuff. I mean, but he's obviously lost a couple brain cells due to, his drug use.
You know, the weird thing about all this is, it's like, Donald Trump Jr. never did any of this shit. Like, it's so weird because you have, like, these, like, absolute, like, parallels of,
Dude, imagine
like,
if you're banging
presidents.
with your dog in the bed.
Please, the audience could have figured that one out. You didn't really have to spell it out.
So basically, Hunter Biden, he basically wrote a book a couple days ago, or not a couple days ago. He released it not too long ago. It was
Wait,
called,
really?
yeah, it was called "Beautiful Things," where he told about where he started talking about his drug addiction, how he overcame it, but he left out a lot of details.
Overcame it.
Yeah, he's not a drug addict supposedly anymore.
I find that really hard to believe, but okay.
Yeah, he forgot to mention that he has over 103,000 text messages with prostitutes, 154,000 emails with prostitutes, 2,000 photos with prostitutes that were verified by top forensic experts. He also left his MacBook Pro laptop in a Wilmington, Delaware computer repair shop in April 2019 and never returned it. In the text from 2019, Hunter Biden begged his father to run for president to salvage his own reputation. He repeatedly dodged police action against him, despite constantly being with drug dealers.
Wait, hold on. Back that up. Is that real?
Yeah, this is from this article.
So-
Apparently, they have the whole laptop that he.
Right. So, if that's the case, you could argue that Hunter Biden, not Joe Biden, was one of the acting forces that caused Joe Biden to run and then win the presidency and whatever, and become the only other option to Trump.
Make no mistake, Hunter Biden is not the only reason why Joe Biden wanted to be president. Joe Biden wanted to be president. He ran 3
But then
times.
why did he have to beg?
I mean, that is a good point. I think Joe Biden was reluctant. I assume because this was in what year? 2019. Trump's economy was very good,
Right.
right?
He had
So
a
it was
lot
really
to fight.
right. So I think it was just an uphill battle from there. But once he understood that, COVID was on the rise, I think he sort of understood that it was going to be an easier election, right? He didn't need to go out of his basement. He didn't need to go to campaign rallies. He could sort of just be there, and just by the sole virtue of him not being Trump, he could win. Like, he could actually have a genuine chance of winning.
Right. And also, of course, it is. I do these a lot. We're just gonna make these a regular segment. Chow's cutaway a clock. Yeah, sure, we'll go with that. These like subtopics that I always bring in whenever we're talking about something to completely just derail and ruin the conversation. Welcome back. Yeah, so the thing about like the economy during COVID, I do sort of feel that the lockdowns and the mask mandates and all of these huge overreaches of, I'd say, government control and power during the pandemic were largely orchestrated by like leftists. Not only leftists, I'm sure, but I think mostly leftists were the ones that wanted to, commit all these overreaches. I mean, obviously they have no moral objection to that kind of thing. They haven't previously. And what I mean is, I think that leftists understood that if Trump had a good economy, he wouldn't lose. Fundamentally, Trump's biggest strength is that he's a businessman. But with the pandemic, they had an opportunity to tank the economy, blame it on Trump, and then provide a solution. Where when Joe Biden entered office, they would try to make the economy as good as possible and then give him the credit, even if he didn't actually do anything.
Yeah, I think the only thing I would object to is I think most, or at least, yeah, I would say most Republicans agreed or sort of there was the sentiment that it was okay to lock down initially, but I think
Right.
Democrats wanted to prolong the lockdown so that they can have an excuse to obviously push through these stimulus packages, because if the
Right.
government's locking you down, there is some justification or some merit to the fact that the government does have to compensate the individual for not letting them out of their house.
Right, but then of course that sort of ties into a lot of the, I'd say, hidden agendas of many people in office during the time, which was essentially to instate socialism. Because while a lot of people haven't run with socialism as their base, the people who vote for them do. And so, with these stimulus checks, the goal was to create people who were either completely or almost completely dependent on government supply chains. I remember people were talking about growing your own farms and preparing for a lot of the shortages that happened with the pandemic, and then that just being outlawed for some reason because the trade and production of seeds was severely interrupted by the government. And if I had to think about why that was, it was to make the citizens over reliant on supply chains, which made them reliant on the government, which would have made the transition to a more socialist economy a lot easier. And I mean, China's already talking about by 2030 completely eliminating permanent currency and having a type of yen, or a future yen of sorts, that expires every month.
Wow, that's interesting. I mean, I'm not an economic expert, so I don't know the implications of a yen that never expires. But yeah, I think it's pretty clear that the Democrats have been wanting us to stay inside so that they could push their socialistic. I wouldn't say agenda because I don't think all Democrats are socialists, but I think their socialistic tendencies
Well, right,
onto the
but
American people
exceptions don't make
or public.
rules.
Yeah.
So, I do think that it is a socialist agenda.
I mean, I just don't see every Democrat being
I don't
having a
think it
socialist
is every-
agenda.
I don't think it is every Democrat. I think plenty of them are moderates, or, I mean, hell, even maybe flip-floppers that used to be on the right. I mean, well, everyone's on the right now because of how the Overton window has shifted, but that's a discussion for another time. The point is, with all these Democrats, sure, some of them might not be socialists, but if a majority are, well, that's all that matters.
Yeah, and I think if the majority of Democrats are socialists, which
Or at
it's
least
not right
close
now.
to socialist, like
Well,
democratic
I
socialist
think-
or whatever.
this is my problem. I think the Democratic Party is inherently socialist because government reliance is their whole thing, right?
Right, but socialism... I mean, socialism is inherently authoritarian, but, I mean, it's not
Yeah.
totalitarian. It's not
Are
like...
you guys trying to generalize Democrats to all be socialist?
No,
not
I'm-
all, but enough.
I think Democrats 40 years ago who disagreed with Republicans on tax rates, that's fine. I don't think that's
Yeah, I don't
inherently
think
socialist.
that... I do not think that they're socialists.
But I think Democrats who believe that there should be some type of stimulus package every month, that's kind of socialist.
Yeah. Because it's essentially the idea of the UBI.
Yeah, I understand that.
And I guess,
Well,
yeah, you go for it. Yeah.
so basically, why do you think that they're pushing it? I understand that the Democrats want to make us civilians more reliant on the government, especially people who want monthly stimulus checks, which isn't the plan that I read it into, like 2 more stimulus checks that will be coming in for the rest of 2021. And that's to like just back on track to actually daily lives how it used to be. Probably won't be what it was, but it will be close, right? Now, can you guys name some Democrats that would be pushing this socialist ideas?
I mean, at least a
Ideas
third
now?
of,
Have any?
yeah. Rashida Tlaib, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, Ilhan
Oh,
Omar.
definitely AOC.
Yeah,
I mean, the
who
Green
else?
New...
Oh, Maxine Waters. Look,
Messy Waters?
Maxine Waters, yes. California's congressional
Oh, okay.
representative. Nancy Pelosi won't. I know
Yeah.
some people like to classify her as a socialist, but she really isn't. I think she only rolls
No,
with
she's
the
a
social.
clown.
She's a clown, but I think she rolls with the socialists just so she doesn't get canceled or eaten by her own caucus.
Yeah.
Because that's
a
the
good-
other thing, right? Because
Yeah.
with the shift of the Overton window, you have like this class of Democrats that are basically just crypto socialists, to save face, and so they end up adopting socialist policies basically out of fear of wrongthink, and that's the problem with being a leftist nowadays. It's just you're constantly in, I'd say, stepping on eggshells, just always.
Yeah, and
Everything-
I think you see this with the. I don't know if you guys heard, but Democrats introduced a bill not too long ago, I think like a day ago, where they want to expand in the House, not the Senate. It would never pass in the Senate. Where they would add how many? They would add 4 Supreme Court justices to the Supreme Court, and
Wait, what?
Y'all like Supreme Court packing?
yeah, and I like the justification. I forgot who said this, but he said that they're unpacking the court because Republicans hold a majority, and it's like, and his other justification is
That is so dumb.
he doesn't like that the court is not objective anymore, which makes no sense considering most Republican justices are constitutionalists, so they're inherently unbiased.
Well, okay,
Um,
they're still biased, but they're biased in favor of the Constitution,
Well,
which is their job. They
Right?
still
Okay.
have
So
their own subjective worldview. They still have biases, but they're
this
just...
is
What?
Yeah, this is why I say they're unbiased. So, in the context of being a Supreme Court justice, you have to take an oath to protect the Constitution, and that's your duty, right?
Yes.
So, in that context, you don't actually make the law; you interpret the law. Meaning,
Right.
if you see, I don't know, LGBTQ rights being trampled on, right? And some person takes that to the Supreme Court, and they say, you know, I think the LGBTQ rights should be extended to the Civil Rights Act. Well, that should never work in the Supreme Court because it's not written in the damn law. If you want to change the law, you go to Congress, not to the Supreme Court. The
Right.
Supreme Court's job is to only interpret the law, and Democrats want the Supreme Court to write the law.
Well, what you end up having is, um, you
And
know,
by the way, before we go further, I am not against LGBTQ rights. I'm in favor of them, but this is just an example that I could think off the top of my head. So don't take it out of context, please.
yeah, personally, LGBTQ rights, you're going to have to give me a concrete definition before I can give my statement on it. But, again, that's a discussion for another time. If any of you are curious, please leave it in the comments, and I will definitely respond with at least 5 paragraphs.
We're very thorough.
Hold me to that. Hold me to that. I will make my mark. Anyways, bet. So, as I was saying, the thing is, right, with a lot of Democrats, not all of them, of course. This is something that I really want to say when I say Democrats. I obviously mean either a vocal minority or a majority to the point where it's irrelevant about whatever, minority of party it doesn't affect. Anyways, I feel like they know that trying to actually like get a bill into law and like getting it to pass, that's hard. That's really tough. That's hard to do, and that's on purpose because we don't just want random laws being made willy nilly because each law affects every other law. So Democrats and social justice warriors who genuinely, unironically believe that every like hierarchical system is oppressive and morality doesn't exist, everything's a power game, and it's basically it's class struggle for identities. So white versus black, male versus female, cis versus trans, majority versus minority, etc.
Tribalism, identity politics, etc.
Yeah, basically, all identity politics is essentially devolved into tribalism at some point. But what I'm saying is, they know that if they can influence the people who interpret laws, and there are enough laws to interpret, then theoretically, as long as they could actually pull it off, it would be the same as making a new law, except they wouldn't have to work with the big, stinky, bad elephant. And that's,
And I think the Supreme Court, in many ways, has lost its, I don't want to say charisma, but its job, mainly due to Justice Roberts. I would call him a pussy.
A lot less so than the other branches of government, I'd say.
I think, how do I put this? At least Congress gets stuff done. The Supreme Court is, any controversial issue, they get nothing done. And that's because of Justice Roberts. And Justice Roberts was nominated, I think, by George W. Bush. Not the Bush in 1994, I believe, or 1990, I forget. But the Bush in 2008. And I think that's one of his biggest mistakes as president, because Justice Roberts, not only is he more concerned with the well-being of the people, and I know that sounds bad, me saying that, he's more concerned with establishing a social peace rather than actually establishing laws in which that they don't violate. How do I put this? The Supreme Court job, right? You bring a case to the Supreme Court, they look at it, and they're like, okay, I'll take this case, and we'll see what happens. That's the whole job. Justice Roberts, what he does is anytime he sees a controversial case, he's not going to take it just on the sole reason it's controversial, and if a bad verdict happens, then it's on him. That's not how you should run a Supreme Court. You should take inherently controversial issues and decide them. But remember, the only way to decide them is to interpret the law, and that's what he's scared of. And I think in many ways, I would prefer Clarence Thomas to be the Chief Justice. I don't even care anymore. Clarence Thomas, please take his position. I think he's very underrated.
So basically,
Please.
you're saying that like he is basically a pussy
Yeah, he's running away from the issues at hand. Exactly.
instead of doing his job.
Right.
Yeah.
And by the way, these guys serve for life. So if they make a bad decision, or not a bad, like a socially inappropriate decision, it doesn't matter at all.
Well, okay. Okay. Technically, if a justice was really bad, judicial impeachment actually is a thing, constitutionally.
Right.
But it's never been used, and everyone has sort of agreed to not use it because, well, it kind of defeats the purpose of having a nonpartisan, or at least an as nonpartisan as possible, or as, a influenceable court that serves for life. It sort of defeats that purpose. But we're very clearly in a very turbulent time, and I feel that, in the coming, months or years, we might see a case where Republicans or Democrats, I don't know who, is going to try to impeach a justice, like, on some really bogus claim, and whether or not they fail to succeed is unimportant, but that's a Pandora's box just waiting to be opened.
Really, I think it's going to be the Democrats first to do it because the Republicans hold majority in the Supreme Court, so it wouldn't make sense for them to impeach.
Right, but it also might be the Republicans because the Democrats would just pack the court, and then they're like,
okay,
let's say that's a hypothetical though. That's like in the
both
future.
Of these are hypotheticals.
Right. I think if Democrats pack the court, I'd rather Republicans just impeach every single justice that's not Republican or Republican affiliated.
Oh my god.
And then they deserve it. Democrats deserve it because if they decide to pack the court, that's on them. Honestly, Republicans, I know many people are afraid of how they're going to turn out in 2022 and 2024, but I'm actually quite optimistic because I think people are. Ben Shapiro actually made a good video on this. I know you guys are going to laugh at me, but he laid out that generally.
Ben Shapiro, you like Ben Shapiro?
Like you say, you like Alex Jones.
I do not like Alex Jones, but he made out a good video where usually the political party that won the previous election doesn't really show up to the polls, and because especially Georgia, right? Raphael Warnock is already dipping in the poll numbers. That's pretty hard because poll numbers are inherently skewed to Democrats, as we know by the previous two national elections. So I think people are starting not to wake up, but understand the Democrats' agenda, and I think it's going to be
taking the red pill.
I don't think it's like they've basically gone back in time 4 years ago. That's literally it, and people are starting to realize that although Trump was like outlandish and rude, and he wasn't nice or empathetic.
Nicest guy I knew.
I know. Trump
so
hurt some people's feelings.
Yeah, I think what's more important, at least to myself, is results. And Joe Biden is like, he basically came into office with a vaccine developed, a vaccine distribution line, right, already there, and he just sort of is there and taking all the credit for it.
Yeah, and also drone striking kids,
Yeah, drone striking kids in Syria, not taking accountability at the border, sending Kamala Harris to take care of it, even though she hasn't been there once. Yep, it sounds pretty cool.
This is basically just the Kamala Harris presidency, but you have Obama's drone, I'd say high score, but that's really fucked up. And you just mash that together and you have the Joe Biden presidency.
I mean, Joe Biden, did you hear he's actually continuing Trump's wall? Like, he's filling in the gaps, reportedly. The Trump really? Did you hear that? Yeah.
Oh.
It's really funny. It's like what? Wait a minute.
Resist
Go back
hate.
together again.
Resist hate. Keeps building the wall.
Okay, I'm looking
that's
at this.
funny.
Apparently, his Department of Justice is doing it, so he doesn't really have control over it.
But
Um,
it's his department.
Yeah.
yeah, it's like okay,
Still under him.
it's
So,
under. This is weird. Okay, the cool thing about the Department of Justice and most departments by the federal government is Biden can fire any person at any time.
Right.
But will he? I don't think so.
I don't think so either. I don't even think that he's gonna make a big deal about it.
Oh
Unless
my! I'm
people on
looking at
Twitter
a, yeah, I'm looking at a New York Times article, and it's an opinion piece, and it says the title is "Biden should finish the wall." Have the New York Times
What?
become red pilled?
do. Wait. Hold on.
wait.
New
No, they
York
become blue
Times.
pilled. That's like red pilled.
Yeah,
like blue, red pilled.
purple pilled. Purple pilled.
Exactly.
Anyways,
Centrism achieved, everybody.
Look,
You get the wall, we get Obamacare.
it's kind of weird, you know.
No, it's Biden care.
Biden care. It's Obamacare, but just like with extra steps.
It's just a white guy in front of us of a black guy.
Diversity.
Yeah,
Breaking barriers.
I think I don't.
Alright.
We have truly shattered the glass ceiling of racism.
It only took a couple 100,000 miners crossing the border for him to realize a wall is not a bad idea.
Oh, and don't forget the cages.
Oh, and the cages.
Yep, the cages are still there. If anything, they're actually worse now.
Yeah, I mean they're worse because it's COVID time and everyone's packed together, so you know that the virus spreads quite fast. Yeah.
Yo.
I think we're done with Biden. Do you guys have anything else?
Okay,
Well, other
boomer.
than his son. Other than his flipping son, unless you guys talked about that before.
We
he
did talk
came
about
back.
that.
Which again, Donald Trump Jr. did nothing close to this.
Right, and he got
I mean,
far more slack for it.
Didn't he lie at his ATM interview? What was it?
ATM?
Oh, ATF background check. He lied in his ATF.
Oh,
background check.
yeah.
He's faking a request for that, like jail, possibly
Wait,
jail.
Look,
wait, hold
Hunter
on.
Biden's a crackhead.
Wait, hold on. His background check for what?
ATF background check.
What is that?
Let me.
Uh,
ATF is.
It's
Am I,
a
like,
criminal
slow?
back. It's for a gun, I think, right?
wait, hold on.
It's for alcohol, tobacco, firearms, and explosives.
Oh! Wait, so you're saying the only like real crime that Donald Trump Jr. has committed was failing to do a background check for getting a gun? That's based. Hell yeah,
Oh.
Donald Trump Jr.
Don't wait. Donald Trump Jr. did that. Wait,
I thought it was Hunter Biden, but yeah,
Wait,
whatever.
Hunter Biden did that too. Wait.
Okay, but
Wait,
the problem with Hunter
wait,
Biden is that
wait.
guy actually smokes meth. Would you want a guy that smokes meth with a gun?
Wait.
I'm so
I mean, he
confused.
could also have explosives.
Okay.
I mean,
Hold on.
I didn't
hold
read
on.
that much into it.
I'm trying
But
to
he
think
lied
here.
in his
trying
background.
to
Imagine he's just driving in his F-150, you know,
Okay,
mech crack or mech pipe in the hand, on his left hand, and right hand on the wheel, and you know he's got his shotgun in between his thighs, and he's just rolling around town.
Yeah.
You know how Antifa wants to defund the police? He's the police force.
Okay.
That's how I imagine it.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm thinking here, right? I have sort of a moral dilemma. If it's Biden, then frankly, I think that it was very reckless for him to not take the steps required to pass the background check. We should all be doing what we can to comply with government agencies that are only trying to look out for us. If it was Donald Trump Jr., hell yeah, libertarian praxis.
Okay, this is my issue. Hunter
Fuck
Biden
the
is
state.
actually a crackhead. He's a legitimate crackhead. I don't want crackheads to own guns. No offense.
Yeah. Who would take offense to that? Crackheads?
No offense, Hunter Biden.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, man.
There's no way Hunter Biden is watching this video. But yo, just in
I don't
case,
think anyone is. I don't think anyone is, to be honest.
keep
Our
it up,
schedule
bud.
is
You're
like,
fighting
yikes.
the good fight, I guess.
Uh,
Yo.
Alright.
Tell your dad. This
Oh,
whole
you-
this whole presidency thing is working out, I guess, but he should probably go to a nursing home now. You know, he's getting to that age, you know.
If you tell him that, he might fall down another flight of stairs.
Oh God,
Do you think Hunter Biden will ever run for president?
I hope,
hope
not.
You know, I would sort of. The funny thing is, you know how he wanted to save his image. That's why he wanted Joe Biden to run. It'd be kind of ironic if he runs. He's gonna tarnish his own image and the Biden family image.
I mean, even worse than before.
Yeah.
I mean,
This is a Republican.
I mean, if his dad's like a pedo what is pedo rapist racist, then you know, it's gonna be pretty hard to do worse than that. But you know, I'd like to see him
Crackhead.
try.
And crackheads are pretty bad.
No, yeah, but they're not worse than that. Like,
Yeah, I mean, you have to be
alright.
really stupid to leave your computer at a Delaware repair shop that has a lot of illicit videos of you doing illicit things.
yeah. By the way, everyone in this podcast and everyone watching should just remember, Joe Biden is the same person who did assault one of his own supporters, who was female, and did that by taking a page out of Trump's book, which was grabbing her by the sense of that.
Oh,
You know.
can I just mention something? So Hunter Biden had over 500 videos watched on P-Hub.
P-Hub, of course, standing for Center this hub.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, you said a
I
bad
don't
word.
know. I don't know why that was. How did
Oh
that?
no, I got
I don't
orange
even know why that was
YouTube.
relevant.
Orange YouTube, guys. Orange YouTube.
Orange
Alright,
YouTube.
I got this.
Yeah, orange.
Orange. That's what they
Orange
call
tube,
nowadays,
orange
those
tube,
kids.
orange tube.
Orange tube.
Orange tube.
Any relation to any other websites is completely coincidental.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay.
Don't sue us,
Fine.
P-Hub.
We have gotten very off track.
Yeah, we
Alright,
have.
let's go to the next page.
Trump, right? Trump. Another president.
Always
Oh,
about
yeah.
Trump. Always
So
about Trump.
basically, Trump is trying to release this new. He's trying to release an app, all right, because he got banned from the other ones,
Honk,
which only
honk.
proves that the liberals really suppress the right. You know. I mean, what are you guys' thoughts on this? Him making a new app.
Okay, so
Is he
first
gonna
of
be like
all,
Tumblr?
recently I've kind of thought about it, and I don't even know if I'd. Okay, calling leftists liberals is a little bit of a misnomer because I mean, well, first of all, there's nothing liberty-seeking about liberals, but also because, you know, this idea that, you know, being liberal and being conservative, the fact that they're like mutually exclusive, is I believe something that the left sort of decided and the right was like, okay, whatever. But the truth is, right? Words like libertarian, like, basically only exist to fill the gap that liberals have left them because, well, I mean, they're not searching for freedom. They're not searching for liberty. They're not searching for justice. They're just searching for the same things that socialists do, the same things that social justice warriors do, the same things that ideologues do. It's nothing new.
Wait,
But
how did we go from app to fucking
well, okay,
spectrum of politics?
okay. I guess my point was right that it's technically correct to call them liberals, but it might be a better idea.
Kind of have to follow what the liberals do.
I-
If they don't
no,
follow what
no,
the
but-
liberals
no,
do,
but-
they'll be canceled.
No, but what I'm saying is, liberal probably, like, if we're being honest, describes more of a center libertarian ideology than a leftist ideology. So I think it might make more sense to call them leftist if you're referring to, you know, the people
I don't
who
think so.
vote Democrat.
don't think so at all.
I'd agree with Vincent. I think liberalism is actually good, but the way that it's morphed into authoritarianism.
Yeah, it's
I think
kind of
that's
it's,
I'm
it's
using
kind
it
of
as
like
a moderate.
egalitarian. Like egalitarian has been like ruined. So has, I mean, hell, if you think about it, so is socialist. Because I mean, when you think about it, socialism should ultimately be about just an ideology that focuses on helping the people. But does socialism do that? And more accurately, is that its focus? Sometimes, but not always.
people care about the
Let's
intent more
think.
than the results.
That's the thing. It may be good on paper, but in practice, it's totally different. That's the thing.
But if it's not
I'm just using it in the sense of how it's used modernly.
right,
I
okay,
think what Chow's trying to point out is that there's a clear line between liberals and leftists.
yeah, and I think
I
when we're
really
talking
see-
about Democrat voters, especially now with how the Overton window has shifted, just call them leftists because that's what they are.
I don't really see the difference though, because the leftists kind of follow the liberal ideals in order to fit in.
No.
Nowadays.
You're getting this wrong. The liberals follow the leftists.
How?
Yeah,
No, it's
so let me
actually
explain.
the other way around.
No, let me explain.
No,
No,
because
it's
the liberals
not,
are
though.
more radicals.
What?
No. Leftists are more radicals, not liberals.
No.
Yeah,
no.
liberalism
No,
is
Liberalism
Even
is
Ben
a
Shapiro
moderate
even
ideology.
yeah.
No.
When
I
Ben
wouldn't-
Shapiro
I-
says
maybe the
liberal,
ideology,
he
but
means
nowadays in
leftist.
practice,
Well, to be
no.
fair, he's been clarifying his position on that for quite some time. I think so. This is how you would look at it. God, there's not a lot of liberals in Congress anymore.
Yeah,
But-
because all of them have either become center right or they've become fucking hardcore leftists. Because that's
I think there needs to be a third tier of like the Democrats. There's liberals, something in between, and leftists. I think that's what you need to do. I don't think there are many liberals left.
is there really? Because like normally that would just be called a radlib, radical liberal.
Really,
But-
that's a thing.
Yes, it is. But the thing is, in practice, radlibs would be more comparable to modern day U.S. libertarians in actual, like, if for namesake anyway. But they're just fucking socialists.
Dude, I think this is how I view. I don't know how it was back then, but I think libertarianism has skewed more to the right of liberalism now. I don't think it's on
Yes.
the left side of the spectrum anymore, if it ever was. I'm not informed. about
No,
that.
libertarianism is definitely a right-leaning ideology because it focuses on what was originally right-leaning politics, which was, of course, markets and freedom.
I think republicanism
Or
is
conservatism.
the opposite. Yeah, that's the opposite of liberalism, and leftists libertarianism is the opposite of leftism. I think that's how I would classify it. If we're being as
think you
Maybe.
fair as
I still
possible.
think it's wrong because, and why would there be a term called, you can blurb this one out, libtard, if they weren't the more radical group?
Okay, so
I think they've been.
Why wouldn't
This
they
is
just
why I
be
think.
left-hard?
Let me explain. I think Barack Obama did a great job in hiding his leftist tendencies with the appearance of being a liberal.
right.
Because Barack Obama was seen as a nice guy, he could hide his radical ideologies and policies.
I mean, arguably, Obama was a socialist.
Yeah, arguably. At the very least, a leftist during a second term, 100%.
Yeah, I mean, Obamacare. Come on.
Yeah.
Medicare, Medicaid. You know the story.
So I think if you want to talk about liberal, the problem with liberalism is it's not even like a left-leaning ideology anymore. It's more like, I don't even know, because the Overton window is so far to the left now, it's considered right now. It's
Yeah.
so weird. We live in such a
Socialism.
strange time.
Socialism is like, it's not
That's the new norm.
centrist. It's not centrist, but it's close. It's acceptable dialogue. When you go on like talk shows and you watch the mainstream media, they're all parroting either socialist or pre-socialist ideals. That's what they're doing, and I think that calling them liberals is misleading. But we're arguing
And
about
insulting to
semantics.
actual liberals.
Yeah, but again, we have gone so far off track as we usually do, and we have been recording for 45 minutes, and I believe we still have
Augers
some
moment.
really, really big topics to talk about.
Yeah.
So let's
I think that was the
move
biggest topic.
on.
Yeah,
All right, let's
Trump,
go back to the app.
social media.
What's your guys' thoughts on him making a new social media app besides it crashing?
Oh, okay, I can summarize it in one sentence. Probably,
Besides it crashing.
yeah. Probably not gonna be as good as the Trump-branded news organization, which still hasn't come out.
Yeah, I think what will happen is there's gonna be a couple hurdles. Number one, getting servers. Actually, don't kick them off. And number two,
Like
making sure.
AWS is gone.
Yeah, I number two is making sure people who troll Donald Trump don't go on the platform and install bots to just ransack the platform, or just people who actually
Wait, you think that there are leftist trolls?
yeah. I
Yes.
think I think they
That's
would.
Trolls on every side.
I think
that's
that they would
assuming that they
overrun.
can meme.
Right, I think they would overrun the platform. Honestly, I'm not even joking.
I tend to agree, but I genuinely don't think that leftists can really meme because that requires a certain level of
No, I think they can.
yeah.
Because there's each type of people in both sides.
No, I
There's
understand.
radicals on the right, there's radicals on the left. There's trolls on the left and trolls on the right.
But
It's
I
not
mean,
just a one. Can't just be like
no,
like
but
saying only black people are leftists. No, they can be right on the right and on the
I
left.
wouldn't even say that. I think
that is a really, really bad comparison because being black is an immutable characteristic. Being leftist is not an immutable characteristic. You choose to be whatever political ideology you
I think
are.
that's his point, though, Chow.
What?
Like Joe Biden said, if you what is the quote? If you don't vote for
If you
me,
don't
then you
vote
ain't
for
black.
me-
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the quote. So I think that's his point. Like, Biden views black people as as people who are 100% going to be aligned with the Democratic Party, and I
Right.
think that's sort of the expected norm nowadays, right?
Mhm.
I'm
That's
trying to
what
say because
I think that's what he's trying to say. I don't know.
Okay, well,
No, so I'm trying to say that he's saying that trolls cannot be on the left because you have to be a
not
certain type.
not cannot, but don't usually. And the reason why I say this, it's not just fucking like it's not just shit coming out of my ass. There's a reason, and the reason is that leftism is inherently, about community, equality. If you
No.
can manage
No.
that, and
It's not about
it's about the destruction of hierarchies and the jokes
Which will never happen, by the way.
well, of course, but the thing is, right? Jokes are inherently subversive because they require hierarchies to function. Every joke, if you look into it long enough, has like a butt of the joke. It has something or somebody, almost always somebody that you are laughing at. And the leftists just don't.
Trump.
Right, no, but
I thought you were gonna
leftists
take a
just
different
don't do
approach.
that.
Okay.
Yeah, they do though. They always clown on Trump. Even when he was in office, they clowned on Trump.
Oh, okay.
This
No,
isn't new.
no, but they don't make jokes about him. They
Yes, they do.
antagonize him with the front of a joke.
No,
It's different.
They do make jokes about him. They do it all the time. They did in presidency. They didn't even talk show hosts made fun of him about him.
No,
So what would be the difference?
I mean, no. What I'm saying is, they definitely make fun of Trump, but I don't think that they make jokes about him because they're not really jokes. They're not really meant to be comedic. They're meant to be scolding. They're meant to be political, like, hit pieces of propaganda. I mean, that's what it usually is, at least on talk shows and on media. You think that all of those people, like, making fun of Donald Trump is truly just a joke? And it's, like, it is harmless and it's whatever? Maybe, but I don't think so.
I think my point of view is leftists can meme. They just have their own meme culture. That's all.
Exactly.
Have you guys ever actually seen, like, a hardcore lefty meme? Because
Yes.
I'll just tell you this.
They're really cringy.
It is really cringy.
They're really
Have you,
cringy.
on TikTok, you could see them. I've seen this guy named Hassan Piker. I don't know if you guys know him. React
Hey, you're
to
on TikTok?
no. Do you know who Hassan Piker is?
Maybe.
No,
I
he's a
follow
Twitch
up,
streamer. He was really big. He still is really
Uh-huh.
big. He's a leftist, and I watch him sometimes,
Anyways, yeah, go.
and he reacts to a lot of
Nah,
TikToks.
you watch.
But the funny thing is, even though he's leftist, he reacts to leftist TikToks, and he says they're cringy. So that's how I know about leftist TikToks.
That's funny. Well, the left does eat itself, so I'm not really surprised. But the thing is, right, with the whole, like, leftist can't meme, that's not serious. I'm not saying that leftists are incapable of posting memes. What I'm saying is they lack a base kind of appeal. All of their memes are just sort of ways to find people who agree with them. It's not actually about making something that's funny.
No, I feel like they would
Yeah,
flood the gates of the
but
app,
I think the
even with
problem
the
is
cringy memes.
they've overtaken the culture to the point where even though they appeal to a broader group of people, that is funny or amusing because the culture is towards them now. So people are, I guess, I don't want to say used to it because when you see a joke, you're not used to it, but it's almost expected, and because of that, people laugh. I don't know how to explain it very well, but I
Anyways,
think the
uh,
culture,
right. Okay, so we keep getting sidetracked. Back to the
right,
app, I guess.
right. I think we've spoken enough about that, to be honest.
Okay.
Oh,
Let's
you
move
want to talk
on.
about the app that kicked him off?
Oh,
Twitter,
Twitter?
Yeah.
Instagram, or did
All of
it kick
them?
him off
Well,
Instagram?
Twitter
But he
one.
hasn't like posted in a while, I think, right?
Wait,
Yeah, I
is
think
Donald back?
Not on Twitter.
no,
Is
not
he
on Twitter,
is he
not on
is he
Facebook,
is he
not
ever
on
coming back on
YouTube.
Twitter?
No, he can't. He's banned.
Why?
Because he
Because
incited a
the
riot.
leftist what's the word?
He,
Censoring us and really putting us,
I'll tell
in the
you
dark.
why. Not like why I agree, but the justification. He
Okay.
incited a riot on January 8th or 6th,
Oh,
something like
it's
that.
the fucking Capitol
Yeah,
riots.
Yeah,
do you know? It was like all the way back.
I
yeah,
remember about the Capitol riots, but like, I mean, he didn't really incite it. Okay, no,
He
whatever.
told him to stop. To be fair, he did tell him to stop. Like you shouldn't
Yes,
be doing this.
and leftists complained that his reaction was too nice. Not that he didn't give a reaction. Not that he didn't say, "Hey, everyone, go home." Like it's enough, because he did say that. And I mean, frankly,
Yeah.
he had to say that, but he wasn't endorsing the rioters. If he was, that would make a lot more sense for everyone to take him off of their platforms. But he just didn't do that.
yeah. I mean, it's such a weird time that we live in because this stuff wouldn't fly. I think I'd imagine at least 50 years ago. Just because I think more people. Not. I don't think more people were
50 years
objective.
ago, the left and the right weren't literally uh, like at each other's throats
Okay, that's not
24/7.
true.
Okay,
That's not
no,
true.
I get that there was a political polarization back then, and I
Right.
understand that that was definitely there back when times where we had to make big decisions, like during the Cold War. But fundamentally, right?
There are
We
fundamental differences between the left and right now. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'd agree with you on
And
that.
also, because
Yeah.
the Overton window has shifted, the right feels betrayed while the left feels entitled. They feel like they need more. They feel like they deserve more. And the right is like, wait, what? I thought this was supposed to be a bipartisan country. What the hell happened, right?
Yeah.
Now in academia you have to be leftist or you just get absolutely drilled, and so that just like becomes your ideology from an early age, and then that's just what you are.
Yeah. Probably social media really presses on the political side of things in America even more.
Yeah, I'd say
I mean, if it weren't for sites like what YouTube, parts of Reddit, 4chan, 4chan, and others. I mean,
4chan.
to be completely honest, we probably wouldn't even have a right in America. I mean, well, that's not entirely true. Obviously, there are people who, there are conservatives who pass down their ideology to their kids, just like how there are Dems who do the same thing. But it would like severely cripple the right in America if they didn't have some place to spread their message, just like how the left has a place to spread their message, which is literally everywhere.
I just wish.
Even all the sites you said.
I just wish in
Yeah.
America we are more willing. We are more willing to accept each other's differences of opinion.
Yeah.
Because right now,
Well,
if you disagree with someone in the slightest, it's like you not only see them as an opponent, you see them as someone, you see them as an adversary, right? You don't even like recognize their humanity at times because you're so busy hating on them. I think that's a big problem in America right now.
Yeah. Although, of
Yeah.
course, just throwing up your hands and calling for unity doesn't fix any of the problems that we face.
It
either.
actually makes it worse.
Right. So, it's sort of a fine line you have to walk, because on one hand, you don't want to be an example of the very problem that you're describing, but on the other hand, if you don't be part of the problem, then nothing's going to get done. And we're in an economic crisis like we haven't seen in decades, and we are in a social crisis like we haven't seen in centuries. We kind of need this action, like, now. And that's why all of this, for lack of a better word, political polarization is such a bad thing. All of this divisiveness is such a bad thing, because we sort of can't fix it. Because if we stop doing things, if we stop acting out praxis politically, if we stop talking about things and having discussions, and we just hold ourselves to the Overton window and just try to be as moderate and as unity positive as possible, we're just gonna end up feeding to one side. And also, we're gonna only make the situation worse with the tensions.
Exactly.
I think that's where we agree on all.
Yep,
It's unfortunate. I think social media has exemplified the problem.
definitely. Which
But-
I find funny that Trump immediately rushed to making his own app, as if that somehow wouldn't also have the same issues. So
I think we also have to be grateful to social media because news and information travels a lot faster than it otherwise would have if we just read newspapers. So
God,
there's, like,
imagine
it's a
being a
double-edged sword.
boomer. Am I right, fellow Zoomers?
That makes me cringe in so many different ways you don't understand.
No, I do. That's why I said it.
Stop. Anyways, I guess we could transition into a social media divisive topic, and that is the trial of Derek Chauvin, the person who
Alright.
killed George Floyd. If you don't know,
Alright, we gotta
basically-
be very sensitive with this topic, alright,
Yeah.
boys?
Be
I'll give
very
you the-
careful.
We're walking on eggshells here in this topic.
We gotta be absolutely
Oh.
certain that we don't offend any.
oh my god.
We gotta
Let me just let's just move on.
No, so basically, if we say anything bad, we're gonna get flagged and this video be deleted off YouTube. So let's keep the jokes to a little minimum. Take
Yeah.
a little serious this one, all right? I
I'll
know
give
I'm
you
the
the
one that
gist.
usually makes the jokes. All right, give us the summary.
Basically, the prosecution had a really good first week. The defense had a really good second week, and then on the third week, it's bad for everyone. So it's obvious. Like, this is the problem with the trial of Derek Chauvin. They're putting charges of second-degree murder, third-degree murder, and second-degree manslaughter. Now, the problem with those charges is in a criminal court of law, it's beyond reasonable doubt. So, essentially, in a
Alright.
criminal court, there has to be beyond reasonable doubt that Derek Chauvin committed first or second-degree murder, third-degree murder, or second-degree manslaughter. Now, the problem with all those charges is they don't really fit the glove, right? The hand, as you know, in the O.J. Simpson trial, it doesn't fit in the glove. And the problem with all of this is there's not going to be this.
Aika, we
Can
can't
we-
hear you.
can we-
Okay, I'm back.
Yes,
What
yes. Bless
let's
us
just
with
say-
your beautiful information.
Let's just say
what?
my sister unplugged. You know the cord that goes into the router.
Oh my
Yeah.
god.
All right,
Unplugged
that's what
it?
happened. Yeah.
Your sister is dog water.
Was it like on purpose or by accident? 'Cause either
She
way,
opened
you're
up her
retarded.
blinds and it unplugged.
Your sister is literally so free.
Your sister, I swear. Like,
Okay,
is
where did I
autism running in
leave
the family?
off?
You were glitching out the whole time, by the way.
Something. Oh my god! I keep thinking.
Oh my god, stop.
Shut up. Bro, when you were gone, he made so many more jokes. You don't even want to hear
I
them.
can't wait to go through the recording. All right. Anyways,
But I called you, and if you're gonna use any of the footage, I leaked your number, by the way, by accident. 'Cause I tried calling you.
whatever.
Love how
Basically,
get doxxed.
we were talking about Derek Chauvin. Now the problem with Derek Chauvin,
No.
What?
I got this sweet cutaway scene. All right, folks, we're back. Technical difficulties because some decided to, unplug
not to
the
do more work
router.
and bleep that out.
Right, yeah. Anyways,
Yeah.
Anyways, back to crime statistics. I mean, back to the topic at hand.
Right. The problem with Derek Chauvin is you have to convict him of second-degree murder, third-degree murder, or second-degree manslaughter without a reasonable doubt. Now, the problem is he doesn't really fit any of those charges. It's like the O.J. Simpson glove, right? His hand doesn't fit. So
You're gonna keep that one in, huh? All right.
Yep, I'm definitely gonna
keep that one in, huh? You're gonna keep that one in, but not the other ones. All right.
Now the problem with that is it's obviously not going to result in a how do I put this? He's not going to be convicted of any of those charges. That's 100% true. And if he does, whatever, I'm wrong. I'll take it.
Yeah.
But I think the most likely result is a hung jury, and we might even see the jury results as early as this weekend or Monday.
Really?
So yeah, it's moving real fast because there's not a lot of substance to the trial.
Oh, jury without bias.
Trust me, there's a lot of reasonable doubt.
I guess Twitter's gonna be having some fun.
I can't wait to see Minneapolis after, it's a hung jury. And let me explain to you.
Oh, no.
BLM riots part 3.
Yeah.
Oh no, not my target. No.
Now let me explain to you why there's a likely result in a hung jury. And it's about the without reasonable doubt, and that's because there's a case to be made that George Floyd did not die due to asphyxiation by the police officer, Derek Chauvin.
Right.
And in fact, his autopsy report says that. I don't know why the defense has not used that. That it is substantial evidence in their favor. Okay, but regardless, they've been presenting the fact that George Floyd is a drug addict, and the reason why the autopsy report, and this is why they should use it, revealed that if they found his body at his home, they would classify his death as a drug overdose because he had enough fentanyl in his system to kill a horse.
Oof.
Yeah.
Right. Now, hold on. It might be also fair to recognize that while he was probably overdosing, having a cop on your neck for 8 minutes probably wasn't helping.
Right, but there's also a defense to that.
Followed the procedure.
Right.
Well, because the procedure of a police officer is to really detain. And he wasn't really listening or cooperating at all. So you had to detain him.
Right.
Yes, he could have detained him in another way. And he wasn't actually on his neck, he was on his shoulder. It was just the angle of the camera.
That's the key thing. So it's been not proven because the point of a trial, if you don't know, it's basically a storytelling contest. Whoever tells the best story wins.
Right.
And the defense made a very good case last week that, Derek Chauvin, he wasn't standing on the neck of George Floyd. He was actually standing on the shoulder blade, the lower shoulder blade.
Right, because if you actually, think, why? Seriously, why would the cop be kneeling on his neck? Why?
To be fair, that is a procedure in the Minneapolis Police Department. They do
on neck
put pressure on people's necks, yes. That is procedure. Yeah, but he wasn't even doing it correctly, by the way, which is the strange thing. But and the defense. Let me tell you why the defense had a very good week last week. Mm-hmm. The reason why they had a very good week last week is because they brought in some official. I think it was the police chief. I'm not sure. Oh, it was the use of force trainer. That's the guy who it was. He basically was the prosecution witness, the people that are charging Derek Chauvin, George Floyd's killer, with the murder. He did such a bad job for the prosecution, the defense called him up, and they started asking him questions, and he actually benefited the defense more than the prosecution. He basically said, the defense asked him, have you ever been in a similar situation to Derek Chauvin? Have you ever put your knee on someone's shoulder blade or neck area? He said, yes. Have you ever proceeded to do that while the individual yelled, I cannot breathe, or something along the lines? He said, yes. Is this standard procedure for the Minneapolis use of force team? He said yes. So a lot of things that he said benefited the defense. And usually when you bring up a witness you don't really want it to benefit the other side because you only get a limited amount of witnesses or witnesses that both sides agree on.
Right, but you're also just because like you're giving your enemy ammunition to fire at you with.
Right, and they're
Yeah.
actually stealing away time, right? Because they only have a certain amount of time. If you look bad in front of the jury and the judge, kind of a lost cause. So defense had a really good week, but the prosecution had an equal week in terms of how good it was for them, because all they basically said is, "Man, this was really hard to watch." I mean, who wants to watch some guy dying, whether it be to an overdose of fentanyl or to some guy standing on someone's neck? Who wants to watch that, right? That's pretty
Right,
bad.
but that's an argument based on emotion, not an
Right.
argument based
And-
on.
Yeah, in a
actual
normal
evidence.
in a normal trial where there's the judge has been, I don't want to say favorable to the prosecution, but I would say he leans
Bit
to the
biased.
Well,
prosecution.
you
And
can't
you
really
can only
blame.
right, you can't really blame him because it happened in a city. It's a big news story, and I'm sure he doesn't want to get canceled because this is a very public trial.
Right,
So we can't blame the judge. I'm not going to pull that against him.
and also
But-
because I mean you can't exactly blame the person who's being manipulated with an argument to appeal to emotion for being
Right.
appealed to emotion. He's even though they're a court of justice and they're supposed to be objective, at the end of the day they're still human. And this is a case where someone died at the hands of a police officer, so obviously it's very sensitive, and it would be very easy for the prosecution to use emotion to fuel their arguments.
The interesting part about the emotional argument is this would never fly in a normal court proceeding. Usually, both sides sort of agree on that using emotions is not the best court of action, just because it doesn't really give you any argumentative points.
Mhm.
But because this case was so documented and so well known about, it actually added to the argument. Like, because at the end of the day, I think the jury, it's very, the problem with the jury here is, if you don't know, you have to pick a jury from the jurisdiction in which the crime happened. Now, there's only a limited amount of people in a jurisdiction, right? And it's going to be hard pressed to find people who don't know about what happened with George Floyd, especially if it's in the city. So, of course, the jury has some of their own biases, and it's going to be unfortunate for Derek Chauvin. That's why I don't think he's going to get acquitted, because just people are naturally going to be stubborn. They're going to hold their own opinions, and in some ways, you can't really change that.
Right.
Yeah. I can know first count. I'm a very stubborn person.
Yeah, same. Anyways, let's talk about another person that got I don't want to say excessive use of force by the police, but what seemed to be excessive use of force by the police on Twitter. His name is Dante Wright.
Oh,
Dante?
Yeah, Dante
Don't
Wright. Is that
worry.
right, Chow?
I got this. So
Dante Wright.
Okay,
Right.
Chow's agreeing. Yeah,
yeah,
you guys heard that.
yeah, it's
Chow?
it's Dante, right?
Yeah. Wait, I got this.
Yes, that's a human construct. Yes, of course.
Yup,
Human
me
construct.
IRL.
Dante Wright.
Okay, yeah. So what happened was it was I would say very similar in a
I
lot
don't
of
really
ways.
know much about the case besides the fact that the police officer was a woman in Minneapolis, the same city where George Floyd was killed.
Yeah.
And the police officer mistook a taser or excuse me,
Actually,
mistook
I was
a gun
I
for
was
a taser and
yeah
shot
okay.
Dante Wright. And there's some new details coming out that he has some type of relation to a woman. He wanted to rob a woman, specifically in the breast area, because she had $800 there, and he had a warrant for another arrest. So the cops were sort of naturally, were being aggressive with him because he's a high-profile individual.
Damn,
So,
you
yeah.
did your
I mean,
research.
The police officer should have not shot Dante Wright. I think that's quite obvious. They should have. If you don't know the difference between a taser and a gun, I mean, come on.
And
You're
also,
better
it's
than
in
that.
the complete opposite way of the belt. There's a reason why they have non-lethal on one side, lethal on the other side. Differentiate. You learn this in basic training in the police academy. How do you
Right.
confuse which one? Like, I don't
And-
understand that.
Right.
And the
this,
cop's been charged with, I think, second-degree manslaughter. So
this
yeah.
is the difference between
it's
this
a
case.
pretty open and shut case. There's not much to
I mean,
defend there.
Wait.
I'm
Okay.
actually curious how long she's been on the force.
you not
Is it
hear
a
me?
she or a he?
Oh my
It's a
god,
she.
they
I think
can't
she's been
hear
on the
me.
force
Alright.
for 10 years.
What?
Now,
They can't
the
hear
cool
me.
thing about all
Hello?
of, yeah,
Hello?
the cool thing about all of
You couldn't hear me for like the past 2 minutes, but I was trying to explain this entire story.
okay, go for it.
Damn. Well, okay, most of the things are already... Okay. What I was trying to say was, this is the main difference between this story and the case of George Floyd. I personally consider these cases very similar, but one of the main differences was, in the case of George Floyd, there were a lot of unknowns, but the blame is pretty much in one person, whether it's, Floyd for, having a drug overdose, or whether it's the cop for, kneeling too hard and not allowing him to breathe, right, and being in a chokehold for 8 minutes and killing him. Either way, the blame is on one person. With this case, the blame is on both people because, wait, hold on, sorry, what was his name again?
Dante, right?
Yeah, Dante Wright. The thing is, as you said, there were multiple arrest warrants for him, and he was planning on committing future crimes, but the officer in this moment had the complete moral right and royally fucked it up. She completely fucked it up, and I don't know if you know this, but it wasn't just that Dante was shot; he died from his injuries later on.
Exactly.
And the thing is, it's like, I don't know how you confuse a taser for a gun, but clearly this was a mistake. If you saw the body cam image, after she shot him, like a second after, once the realization kicked in, she immediately dropped the gun and was just complete shock. Because she didn't mean to shoot him. She meant to tase him. That was always the plan. And, there are people on Twitter saying that obviously, this was a racist attack. This is just another example of the police brutality against black people. But if race wasn't a factor, if race wasn't an issue, if both of the people were, let's say, white, or hell, if both of the people were black, because I know if that was the case, no one would talk about it. If race was no longer a factor, this case would probably never be covered. I think it should be covered because it displays that much of the cases of what we consider police brutality are actually police incompetence, right? But also that the only reason why this case got so much traction in the first place was because it had that race angle, was because it was a white cop shooting a black man. Just like how in the George Floyd case, at least according to most people on Twitter, it was a white man kneeling, white man kneeling on a black man. White on black police brutality. This is the link. But the difference is, in this case, both parties were at fault. And there's no confusion about this. Obviously, the cop was at fault. I don't really have to explain why. It's pretty obvious. She shot him when she wasn't supposed to. And it was a pretty fucking, obvious mistake not to make. You go to the other side of your holster to pick up the taser to tase him, not fucking murder someone. But on the other hand, this was someone who was resisting arrest. And if he didn't do that, this situation would have never happened. So, in my opinion, both sides are at fault. I don't think that this was an act of racism. This was an act of police incompetence and an act of a citizen, or, probably, I'd say a criminal, right, refusing to cooperate with law enforcement and, paying the price. Although in this case, the price was way too high.
I agree with you fully on that, how it wasn't the fact it was a race. It was more the fact that she really screwed up and she obviously, wanted to go for the taser, even though the heated moment, you could have, mistakenly, oh yeah, it's on this side, not the other side. But this time, her, like, morally fuck up. I'm sorry. We can cuss. Doesn't fucking matter.
Their
It,
show.
it really messed her up, and now she's in jail, I believe, for 10 years, right? She's been convicted already?
No, she's not. So,
No, okay, okay.
she's not. 100% she's not. Trials don't go that fast. She's been charged with the crime of, I think, second-degree manslaughter or third-degree manslaughter. Anyways, I think the issue here at hand is the fact that she didn't recognize she pulled out a handgun. I mean, that's kind of a big issue. Ultimately, I think this is more of a good thing that she's being prosecuted because this is, in my opinion, what seems to be the end of qualified immunity. Now, if you don't know what qualified immunity is, it's basically immunity for police that commit actions that they probably shouldn't have, but they receive some sort of protection.
Yeah, no,
just because they're police.
Qualified immunity is fucking stupid.
Yeah.
I hate to appeal to identity politics, but as a libertarian, I fucking hate qualified immunity because it's basically saying that the police, because they serve the country, because they serve the nation to enforce its laws, that somehow that makes them exempt from the very laws that they enforce.
It's tyrannical in a sense.
It is tyrannical.
I don't think they're exempt. They just get a lighter sentence because
they don't get a license. In most cases, they get no sentence. It's kind of bad.
In what case exactly?
Okay, so I can name a case.
Like, say they murdered someone. It's all circumstantial though.
Yeah.
To be honest.
But qualified immunity exists. It's a thing that exists.
That's the problem, right?
I understand it exists, but I don't think it's exemplary. I think it's just lightened.
I mean,
no.
In most cases that is brought into like a court of law, most cops are exempt, and I'm glad that this is being. It's not being brought up, but what is happening is it's sort of indirectly being, I guess, put to the side, which is good. Qualified immunity is garbage because it basically says police are above the law, and no, they aren't.
The very law that they enforce, mind you.
Right.
And the thing is, I feel like that if there was ever going to be one thing that good that was going to come out of the BLM riots, I think personally it would probably be some type of consciousness on how the government uses force.
Yes,
and
I agree with that.
where that's valid and where that's definitely not valid, and how we can work to make that right. Now, of course, the BLM rights end up completely undermining that value by only focusing on internalized oppression that doesn't exist. So it basically did nothing and got us nowhere, but it had the opportunity to. And because these sort of issues are in the front of everyone's mind, they will continue to keep getting brought up. And the discussions will keep happening. And eventually, whether or not it takes a civil war to happen, the left and the right will make this actually beneficial for the country. I believe it. I believe that we will finally, at some point when the ash settles, reach actual political discussion and not just tearing each other's heads off.
I think
that's very wishful thinking.
Yeah, I think people are going to be still divisive. People are still going to view each other
people will still be divisive, of course. I'm not saying that political divisiveness is going to be gone. What I'm saying is it's not going to be like it is right now.
I still think it's going to be worse, honestly. I have no hope.
There's divisiveness in every single situation. Shoot, me and Kaika always argue on if a certain operator in a game is good or not.
Yeah, yours kind of garbage.
Literally tonight.
Yours good. You're just bad.
All right, whatever.
Okay, fine. Well, you know what? I have an alternative solution.
I don't like alternative solutions. Go for it.
Okay, how about this? So it's called FTS. Do you know what FTS stands for?
Fuck this shitter.
You were close. Try again.
Fuck.
Wait,
this.
FTS? Fuck this shit.
Fuck this shit. Yeah.
Close. Keep
Fuck
trying.
this shite.
Fuck.
Do you give up?
Yeah, we
Fuck
give up.
this
Just
shit.
tell us.
Okay, I'll tell you.
Nah, I got this.
Fuck the state.
Oh my god.
So we were close.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. I'm confused why you said that, but yeah. Okay. I mean.
Okay, I don't
If
understand.
nothing else,
Okay, to this, it's like the same thing. How you just say it's a human contract. Okay, yeah, we get it, but and. Anyways,
It's a human
I
construct.
think we
it's a
had
human
enough of
construct.
that topic.
the state is a human construct.
All right, let's just move on.
Yeah.
What do we? I think that's it, right?
We are
Well,
running out of
I mean,
topics.
if you guys want to talk about one last small thing,
Okay.
on Twitter there's a video
I don't know if I can do
circulating.
this, Sure.
Or not a video, a picture of a 13-year-old being shot by a police officer who the police officer thought he had a gun on him, and it was a fatal shot. So yeah. The boy seems to be of Hispanic
Can you
heritage.
put the video?
I could try and find it.
Can you put the video in chat? Yeah. I mean, I don't really know the circumstance, so I can't really comment on it until I watch
Yeah.
the video or even like get any sort of. This is first to me. I myself is not on Twitter 24/7 like Kaika is.
Twitter is a show website. That's
Okay,
why
so
Yeah,
this
I
is
get
what-
my
This is
I get my
the
information
news.
off of Tumblr and
Oh my
Facebook, guys. So
Also,
yeah.
vote blue no matter who.
all right, can you put it in chat, please?
Okay, but frankly, we are unfortunately running out of time.
Yeah, we
We are at the hour 30-minute mark. My computer will die once it processes all of this video.
I mean, most of it's us cutting out technical difficulties.
Yeah, but it still has to get uploaded to the drive.
That is the
dumbass.
picture
Alright.
before the guy got shot.
A picture? You put it in
general.
the wrong chat.
Yeah, whatever.
Anyways,
He appeared to have a gun.
I mean, I understand. I can understand the mishap. Maybe he should have used his taser non-lethals first before he.
I mean, in that
They shot
situation,
him.
to be honest, that would be probably considered a self-defense case, just because it's a life or death situation. If you interpret that,
I mean,
to be
did he
gun.
pull it on him? That's the thing. Did he pull it on him? Like, well, I don't know the situation. I can't really comment on it. Like,
He
as
had-
a person who knows the semi-procedure. Wait, where was this? Where was? State?
Well,
California or?
I have no clue actually. To be honest,
the
we
parents
don't know
think-
enough details, so I'm just gonna wait on it before I comment further. I just don't know.
So, if you guys want to hear about this story, well, fuck, come back next time to hear it.
Sons of Liberty poggers.
Sons of Liberty, Instagram, Twitter,
definitely Twitter.
Um,
I will be more active on Twitter.
Instagram's Yikers. I still haven't posted the other episodes we've done on there, and I'll probably post some other stuff on there.
And
Anyways,
remember,
go follow us on there, subscribe to the channel. Please come back next time. Any questions, we'll address it maybe next episode in the comments.
and
please.
if you hate us, please let us know in the comments. I want more people to argue with.
We're running out of things to talk about, so we might do a hate comment video.
Ooh, that'd be fun.
So if you
Okay,
guys have any hate comments
no.
or any kind of comments, remember you're 411 Sunny Hawkeye.
I'm the
out.
dirty teacher casual.
And I'm the unironic ANCAP.
The person that's posted in how long?
Kick an echo.
All right. Well, this has been Sons of Liberty. Peace out.
Oh, and
Bye.
one last thing.
What was the last thing?
Fuck the state.
Worry about leaving a better planet for our kids. How about leaving better kids for our planet? Entire generation offended at everything, getting mad that a human thinks all lives matter. We don't need black or white or left or right. What we need is common sense. We need balance. We're all in the same boat. Why you trying to make holes? If they sink, we sink. This is madness.